Hi all, thank you for joining us today. I am Surendra Manoj and I'll be the host for today's session. And in today's session, we are going to talk about Deluge, what Deluge is and why we have to use Deluge. And we'll be also discussing the variables, statements and the data types which are available in Deluge. So let's get started with agenda of today's session. We'll be starting our session with why we have to use Deluge and what is Deluge. It is followed by a discussion on variables and expressions. We'll be also having a discussion on data types. Finally, we'll have a Q&A to test the understanding you have regarding Deluge. So, why Deluge? Okay, or what is Deluge? Deluge is the fifth generation scripting language which is proprietary developed by Zoho, and it's a cloud-based language. Okay, and the visual IDE which we have for Deluge makes it very easy for you to code in Deluge. So if you have the capability to learn read English, we have eliminated all the technical jargons, and it is like reading the plain English while you're coding. So we will be easily able to understand the defined data model, and the code for the business logic alone is sufficient. We don't have to code or it's not mandatory that we have to code the front end logics as well. We have an easily comprehensible language. Like I said, if you are able to read English, Deluge is pretty much understandable. We have eliminated all the technical jargons in it. There is no compilation required since Deluge runs in the online server scripting. It directly gets executed. And we have sophisticated engine for analytics, which includes the AI-powered forecasting capabilities. Okay. And now let us discuss about why Deluge. So Deluge has been used in 25 plus products in Zoho Suite. Okay, so it started with Creator. Now it has been adapted by more than 25 plus products in Zoho Suite. And this is a one-stop solution where you can perform all the actions like integrations and others across the suite. So it's not pertain to one single product. And this makes it very easy. So it's like we have eliminated all the technical jargons and the complex code in Deluge. So like I said, if you are able to speak English and understand it, you can simply read the Deluge script and understand what it is doing. And Deluge handles any task that developer may throw at it. So it's a full-blown language, and now the wrappers and the powerful execution engine, it has evolved to one of the fastest and most flexible scripting languages which are available in today's world. So before we get started with variables, I'll like to show you a few examples of where we can use Deluge in our Zoho's ecosystem. I'll give you an example of few products. We'll be taking Zoho Creator and Zoho CRM as prominent. As you know, Zoho Creator is a low-code platform where we can build our own custom applications, and Zoho CRM is a full-blown CRM application which is used for sales management and other customer relationship management activities. So let us get started. And this is an example where you can see we have implemented a tabbed pane method where you can collect the information of a customer in parts and parcel and then store it in the database. So actually this is a single form. If you can see, this is the employee detail form where you can have the first name, last name, email, phone number, address, educational qualification, departments, everything. And we are using this form to be displayed in parts and parcel. You can see the first name, last name is here. Let me give the first name, and I'll also give the last name. So now, once I give the first name and last name, you can see I've been taken to the next phase. So now I can go to contact info, and you can see the first page or the page 1 is actually first two fields of this form. Okay, and now let me go to the next page where I can save my email. I'll say surendra@s.com, and the mobile number be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and let me give our address, and I will click on save. Now if I want to go back and change any information in the any previously entered information, I can simply go to that pane, I can click it, and I can update the information. So if I say Surendra Manoj, yes sir, and if I click on save, You can see the information is getting updated. This has been actually handled with the help of Deluge, and this is the code for Deluge. So here you can see from line 1 to line 19, we have constructed our Deluge logic. So where we are passing the parameters and we are also calculating the page number. And then we have started using HTML and integrated HTML with Deluge. And finally, we are calling that particular form component of creator and passing the parameters and thereby controlling the visibility of the fields. So the logic has been written in the form side as well. So with this, you can understand Deluge is not only used to implement custom business logic, but it's also used to control or produce or integrate itself with other programming languages and produce custom UI components. So this custom UI is available with Creator, where you can use HTML and ZML. ZML is another language developed by Zoho ourselves, which is Zoho markup language. Okay. So I'll take you to the next example where you can understand the integration capabilities of Deluge. So this is an example where we are actually sending a data from CRM to Creator. So this is my CRM account actually. So if I go to crm.zoho.com, I'll take you to the functions where you can see all the functions which we have written. So this is the section where I can see the functions. Functions are actually under developer space. So these are two functions which we have found it interesting. One, this is used to send data from CRM to Creator, which makes the capabilities of CRM even more enhanced. So we can implement custom logics in Creator and send it back to CRM. So that is how the integration works, and that integration has been made very easy. If you can read through, we can see first we have constructed a map, then we have added the keys and values to that map. Finally, we are just saying, hey, in Zoho's ecosystem, I want the creator product, and there I want to create a record. So it is very easy. If you are able to read and understand English, you will be able to very well make sense of the code. And finally, you are actually getting the JSON response, and in the JSON response, you want a particular key. So we are saying get JSON and giving that key, which again gives us a JSON response, and we keep traversing through that. Similarly, if you want to send a message to a click, so you can see it's very easy, right? So it's Zoho's ecosystem, and click is the product, and the next thing you want to do is to post to a channel. Okay, so here you can see, hey, I just want to send a congratulations message for the deal which we have closed. So that is a message. So here you can see this is the channel name, and this is the message which we post every time this function gets triggered, and this is the connection name which we have. So that is how easy or how capable Deluge has become over the period of time. Okay, and Deluge also has artificial intelligence capability. Here you can see this is a artificial intelligence function where we are just parsing the address. So if I can execute now, you can see the function actually takes the argument as one single string. It's just the address of our Zoho's Estancia building. Now if I execute now, this address will be split into the road, city, state, Chengalpattu, district, everything. Okay, so this is the parsing option, and this has been enabled by Zia, which is Zoho markup language, and Zia is the artificial intelligence developed by Zoho ourselves, and the capability of Zia is keeping on increasing day by day. We have a lot of Deluge tasks which can tap into the artificial intelligence capabilities. And we also have the option to get our Zoho products integrated with third-party services, which are completely unrelated to Zoho's ecosystem. All we have to do is to get an API endpoint, and we can get it integrated. If it is a REST API endpoint, we can directly get integrated with that source. So for example, you can see here, we have Google's distance matrix API. So we have this is the API, and we have to pass on the API key as well to this. So finally here you can see you were asking for the API key, and we are making a GET request to this URL. So in this URL we have constructed along with two inputs, origin and destination, and the output has been traversed. So I have traversed the JSON response till the point where I'm getting the desired output, and then we have constructed the string. So if I execute now, let us say I want to give the origin to be Chennai and destination to be Bangalore. If I click on submit, the system makes the API call, fetches the data, parse through it and says, hey, the distance between Chennai and Bangalore is 215 miles and the time taken to cover this given distance is actually 6 hours and 53 minutes. So Deluge not only is used to get the products of Zoho integrated with each other, but Deluge also have the capability to get the other products which are not in Zoho's ecosystem to get integrated with the Zoho products. Okay, so now let us understand the basic concept of the first building block of any programming language, which is variable. Okay, so variables are the virtual container for a specific data. So we can put it in another way. Anyhow, we have to store a value in the system's memory, right? And that memory has an address, right? So that address has been provided with the name, and that is the variable. And the value which is stored in that particular address is the value of that particular variable. Okay. So let us take it with an example. Let us say we have a container. Okay, it's just a glass container. There is nothing in it. So when it's empty, we just got it as a glass. But when we pour a lemonade into that, or a root beer, or a whole milk, right? Depending on the content which has been added into that particular glass or the container, the name of that container changes. When we put lemonade, it becomes a juice glass. When it's a root beer, it's a soda glass, and when it's a milk, it becomes a milk glass, right? The container is the same. Depending on the data or depending on the content which has been placed inside that container, the value or the name of that container changes. So is the characteristics, right? So that is how the variable works actually. Okay. So what's in each class is actually the one which is defining the characteristic of that class. Okay. So the data gets stored in the variable, and the value or the variable can swap the data. So if you can take a pictorial representation, there's an empty variable where we are adding the data. Now that when we are calling that variable, the data is being displayed to us. If we want to replace the data, we can simply add or assign a new value to that variable, and the old value gets erased, right? So that is how variable actually works. Okay, you cannot assign multiple values multiple times. Okay, so let us say x equal to 5, and the next time when you say x equal to 10, the value of x equal to 5 is being replaced by 10. So next time when we call x, it will be 10. So that is how the variables work. And while we are defining a variable, we have a few rules to be followed. Okay. So these are like syntaxes. Okay. So every program executes line by line in Deluge. Okay. So there is a specific structure which is required. So if you are opening a bracket, we have to properly close them, and every line has to be ended with a semicolon and all. So these are called as syntaxes. Okay, so there are specific rules and regulations which are being followed while we are writing the programming language is called as syntax. Okay, so this is called as a structure. Only with a proper syntax the program can execute properly. Okay. So hence a variable is also very mandatory, and there should be a proper syntax while we are defining a variable. So now let's go and understand what are the syntax we have to follow, or what are the rules we have to follow while declaring a variable. Okay. So the variable creation is also known as variable declaration, and this is the correct syntax. So let me show you the syntax and demo parallelly. Okay. So let me zoom in. While we are declaring a variable, first we have to declare the name of the variable, and then we have to provide the value. Okay, so this is a proper syntax. So first we have to make sure the name has been provided, and then a value is assigned to that particular variable. This is the variable name, this is the value, and we are using the assignment operator. So this is how we declare a variable. Okay. So this is a single statement. As you can see, it is ended by a colon at the end, semicolon. Okay. Every expression or every statement has to be ended with a semicolon. Okay. And like I said, every statement should end with a semicolon, which tells a programming language that it's an instruction or the statement ends here. So you can see the once the assignment is done, that particular statement ends. We have to go to the next statement. So we have to end everything with a semicolon. Okay. So we have certain rules for having a variable name. For example, let me zoom out so you can see. If I say x1, then it's a valid name. But if I say 1x, okay, and if I try to execute the script, you can see I've been provided with an error. It's a syntax error. Okay. So the reason why this is providing me with this error is because I have not declared the variable name properly. There are a few rules which has to be followed while we are declaring the variable name. So let us go ahead and take a look at what are the rules we have to follow while we are declaring the variable name. The first one, the variable name must begin with a letter. It should be an alphabet or an underscore. A variable name should not begin with a number. Okay, it should begin with a letter or an underscore. Underscore is also allowed. Okay, and after the first letter, the variable name can also contain letters or numbers or underscore. Okay, so like I showed, x equal to 10, but 1x equal to 10 is wrong, but x1 equal to 10 is allowed, and x underscore 1 is allowed. Similarly, underscore x1 is allowed. Okay, so these are the allowed names. Okay, we have a few more rules, and no spaces or special characters other than underscore are allowed. Okay, so you cannot say x1 hash. This is not a valid variable name. If you have to have a valid variable name, it should be alphanumeric and underscore. No spaces are allowed, and the first name should be either alpha or underscore characters. Okay, and the next one. So these are the allowed acceptable and unacceptable variable names. So here you can see age. Okay, so age is just acceptable, it's just a single word, but age, and inside the bracket you are given employee. So the bracket falls under the special characters, so it is not allowed. Age 1 is allowed, but age hash is not allowed, since hash is a special character. Age 1 and 1 age. Okay, age of employee, and here you can see age of employee has been written in one single word and with a camel case. But in the unacceptable side, you can see age space of space employees has been written. So we will not be accepting the variable names with spaces. It will create error. Okay, and similarly in the acceptable variable name, you can see in the second and third line small a and the capital A. That makes this two different variables. Okay, the variables are case sensitive. If you say small a ge, unless or until you are calling the variable name as small a ge, it will not allow or it will not provide a valid result. Okay, so if you are not following the case sensitiveness of the variable name, it will not provide you with the proper result. Okay, and there are a few best practices which can be followed while we are using the variable names. The example like using a full descriptive name for the variable. So here you can see I have initiated the variable name with the x. What if we are writing a lengthy program which is used to design a POS system, right? Where we have to mention the concepts of variable financial terms like grand total, subtotal, tax, everything, right? So having the variable names as x, y, and z will be very confusing for developers, because it is when the program gets long, you will not be able to remember all the variable names and why they stand for, right? To avoid that, we can simply go ahead and provide a detailed variable name. For example, instead of providing x equal to 10, I can say variable name, okay, or variable demo. So now the moment I see that, I can understand, okay, so this is a variable which I have created to show a demo of the variable name, right? So let us take an example of the POS system as well. So let us say item price, okay, and we can say subtotal equal to 100, grand total equal to 118. Uh, so you can see the moment I look at the variable name, I can understand, okay, so this variable is containing the value of a grand total, and this variable is containing the value of the subtotal, right? In case I'm backtracking, in case I'm not getting the proper result and I want to backtrack, I can easily go ahead and find out which variable name is providing the wrong result. Let us say if the item price is providing the wrong result and item price is used in the calculation multiple times, I can simply change or correct the value for item name and the entire calculation provides the proper result, right? So that is where the naming of the variables comes into play, okay? And it is better to have distinctive names. For example, item 1, okay, item 1 equal to 10 and item 2 equal to 20. Although they are descriptive, they are not distinctive. So for example, let us say this one stands for television and this one stands for television and this one stands for air conditioner. Okay, so now we have two items, and now we have named them as item 1 and item 2. Unless or until we know what that item 1 is and what that item 2 is, we will not be able to backtrack them easily. So while we are providing the names, it's better to provide a proper distinctive variable names which are not differentiated only by a few characters. Okay. So similarly, the common mistakes in the same example, if we can take, we will say total. Okay, total 1. So total 1 equal to, then we will say 100, which stands for subtotal, and we'll say total 2 is equal to 118, which stands for grand total. Although we know it's subtotal and grand total, the if this kind of naming convention has been followed, it is very difficult for us to go and backtrack that particular variable. Okay, so that is with the variable name. So we can use simple descriptive name as variables, and if there are multiple words, we can consider separating them with underscores, and providing a distinctive variable name that differentiates the variables easily can be used. So to avoid all the confusions which we encounter while we are building the programming language. Okay, so the similar variable names. Okay, so these two are not similar variables. So for example, we can say start hour. So start hour, we will know the moment we say we are going to define a R value there, but it's the start hour. If it's an end hour, we can say end hour. Okay, so like that, the moment we look at a group of variables, we'll understand. Okay, so here you can see, now the moment you say start hour is 4 and start minutes is 15, we can understand that the event starts at 4:15. In the same case, if we are given it as end hour and end minute, so we will understand, okay, so this is the starting time and this is the ending time, and this is how the variable has been defined. And this naming method is not pertinent for one single variable. It also helps us to identify and group a bunch of variables, and thereby making it easy for us to do the calculations. And these are just the best practices. Okay, so here you can see the proper declaration. Okay, the distance left, which is equal to 1.6 units. Okay, so these kinds of proper informations can be delivered with the help of variable names. Okay, so this is how the variable name is declared, and which we saw. Okay, these are the data types which are there in Deluge. So let us understand the various data types. There are multiple kinds of data which are being handled. The few examples are the number values, we have date values, we have boolean values. The boolean values are like yes or no values. We have strings as input. Okay, we have a few collection objects. So let us say there's one single variable which represents more than one value associated to it. For example, a class of students. Class of students is one single phrase which represents almost like 60 to 70 different students in that particular class, right? So they all falls under the data types, and there are multiple data types in Deluge. So here you can see we have collated a few data types which are there. First one is text. So the text is the data type which contains any and every character. It includes alphanumeric, both uppercase and lowercase. It includes all the special characters, spaces, okay, everything. When they are put together inside a double quotes, they become a text data type. Okay, and then has the number, only the whole numbers or the integers which are not having any decimal point value, they fall under the numbers. It can be positive and negative as well, including 0. Then we have decimal. Decimals are the floating point numbers where we have values after the decimal points. So the example is the 123.5, 1.2456, all. And then we have Boolean. Whenever we are provided with an answer of yes or no, the value falls under the Boolean data type. Okay. And then we have date time, date and time. So the date time data type is like whenever we are representing a particular time along with the date. Okay. So the best example will be today at 3:35 p.m. Today's date is 28 September 3:05 p.m. So that is the date and time. So if you want the date alone, it is 28 September 2022, and the time alone is 3:05 p.m. Okay, which will be like 15:05 p.m. So that is the difference between the date time and time data types. Okay, and we also have the collection data type. We'll be discussing them towards the end. This is the text data type. So the text data type is used to represent the text values, and the text data type has all the characters you can. So it has special characters, numbers, space, numeric, everything will be there. Okay, and the text data type is always enclosed inside the double quotes. Okay, so these are the following characteristics of text. So here you can see the customer's name is enclosed within double quotes, and it has a space in it. You can clearly see the variable name has been provided with the underscore because it wouldn't allow any special characters or space in it, but the variable name is provided with a text data type, and this text data type is provided with a space in it. Okay. So let us take a look at, let us take an example of the text data type here. Okay, so let me remove everything. I'll say name equal to Surendra Monch. Now let us save here. Let me zoom out. If I say info type of name, if I execute strict, so this is how we actually declare a text data type. Okay, so even if I say -9568, so although this value is a numeric and there is a special character included in it, the entire thing, the entire value is being enclosed within double quotes. Whenever we have any value which is being enclosed within double quotes, actually falls under the text data type. Okay, and these are also a few examples. So even though it's a pure number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a pure number, it is enclosed within double quotes. So that is also considered as a text data type. Okay, and it can support any letter, number, space, punctuation mark, or any other symbol which we have. And whenever we want to skip or whenever we want to include a double quotes inside that text data type, we can simply go ahead and give an escape character. For example, I would like to say, hi, I am I want to provide a double quotes here and say Surinder Manoj. Okay. So now if I try to execute that script, I'll get an error. So here you can see I'm getting an error expecting a semicolon after Surinder. So this is because this this quotes which we are starting here is getting ended over here. And similarly, this quotes which we are starting is getting entered over here. So this value is not enclosed within that string, but our objective is to get a double quotes, right? So we can simply go ahead and provide an escape character. So the moment we provide an escape character over here, so this entire thing becomes a string data type. Sorry, the escape character is the other way around. Okay. So now if I save and execute, I'll info name, save, and if I execute now, here you can see I am provided with a double quotes. Although the double quotes is not a part of a string, normally if you want to get that double quotes in, we can go for the escape character. Okay, and we have a lot of other functionalities which are built in for text data types. We have concatenation, we have length, we have contains, we have matches. So for example, if I say name dot contains Surendra, okay, save and execute, I'll be provided with an answer true because Surendra is there. But if I say yes, small, if I execute now, you can say I'm provided with the value false because it's capital case and small case. And I can we can provide the ignore case as well. We have the ignore case functionality, which is also an inbuilt functionality which ignores the cases of the compared string and provides us with the result. Okay, so these are the inbuilt functionalities of text data type, and a detailed link which contains all the functionalities of text data type will be provided to you in the chat section by our co-trainers. And let us go ahead to the number data type. So the number data type, they are intended to represent the integers. So it can be negative to positive and 0, but there should be no decimal numbers or no improper fractions in it. Okay, we can hold the whole numbers positive to negative, and the examples are total employee count, order quantity, etc. So these are the ones where we cannot have a partial value in it. For example, we cannot have 1.5 quantity, right? Or we cannot have 2.5 employees working in a department. It should be either 2 or 3, right? So that falls under the number data type. And the number data type exhibits the following characters. So it should not be enclosed within the double quotes. Like I said, if you are enclosing a number value inside double quotes, although it's a pure number, it actually becomes a string and not an integer. Okay, so we have to be very careful on that. If you are enclosing that inside double quotes, it becomes a string and not a integer. Okay, and to hold the data type, the numbers should be whole number and not decimal value. So if you are holding it as an integer, this is the character. And these are the built-in functions of the number data type. Okay, and this is number can be applied in string as well. So for example, I'll say x equal to 100. So let us say info is number of x. Save and execute. So you can see, although 100 is a string, it is checking if that value is it's a number or not, and it is providing us with a value true. Okay, so if you are getting a string data type and you want to check if that particular string is a number, you can use the is number. We also have too long. So the same, if I say 100 and if I say x minus 10. Now if I do this, I'll get an error. So here you can see left side is of string and right side is of begin. The same if I say dot too long, this converts that string variable, the numerical string, into actual integer. So now if I execute it, you can see I am provided with the value 90. Okay, so these are the inbuilt functionalities which are available in the number data types. Okay, we also have absolute and we have random numbers. The random numbers are used to generate values randomly from the given range. So let us say it's a random number of 10 to 100. Every time you execute or every time you call that particular method, you'll be provided with a number randomly chosen between the start range and end range, which is provided by the user. Okay, and then we have decimal data type. The decimal data types are the exact numerical data types, but they are used to represent the fractional data. Okay, so it's defined by its precision and the scale. Normally when we say precision, it's the number of digits on a whole, and the scale is the number of decimals after the decimal point. So in this case, the precision is 10 and the scale is 5. So there are 5 digits after the decimal points, while we have overall of 10 10 numbers in this exact decimal data type. Okay, and the decimal data type has the following characters. Okay, uh, it has the capability to hold the fractional value. Okay, so whenever we are calculating the score, or whenever we are calculating the points or ratings of something, okay, we have the possibility that we may end up with decimal value while we are aggregating. Okay, so the default scale is always 0. If there's no value after the decimal, then there's no values being added, and the resultant value will be in decimal calculations, and we also support the negative values, the same as what we did in the number data type. The only difference we have here is it is also used for holding the decimal or fractional values. Okay, so these are the frequently used functions. So we can round off the decimal value to certain number of decimals, certain number of values after the decimal point. We have the option to floor, we have the option to seal. So when we say floor, it actually rounds the value to the lowest possible value. So let us take a look. Okay, so now let us say 100.99. Okay, so if I say x dot floor, if I execute now, I'll be provided with 100. Actually, if you are properly rounding it off, it should be 100 of 101. And similarly, if you say seal, if I execute, CEIL, okay, it's providing me with 100. Let me put it directly in the number. And let's execute the script. So here you can see it's providing me with the answer 101. Okay, so these are the inbuilt functions which are there. We have the value to calculate the scientific values: sine, cos, tan, cosine. All the values can be all the values can be obtained with the inbuilt functions which are there for the decimal data types. And then comes the Boolean data type. Any value which provides us with the answer of true or false falls under the Boolean data type. Normally, the if conditions work on the Boolean data types majorly. Okay, so any value that has been represented by true or false output falls under the Boolean data type. Based on all comparisons and condition validations, the outputs will be mostly Boolean data types. Okay, so tracking of acceptance, yes or no status, or eligibility criteria checking, all those things falls are providing us with the Boolean data type. Okay, so the Boolean data type actually can hold only one of the values. It can be either true or false. It cannot be true and false both at the same time. And So this is the possibility. Either acceptance is true or false. We cannot have true and false at the same time. And by default, the value is always false, unless or until there is a condition specifying saying this is a true. The default boolean value is always false. Okay, and this cannot be used in any mathematical calculations. However, this can be used in all the conditionals. So let us say we are writing a if condition where we are implementing multiple complex logic operations as well. The boolean values play a major role in it. Okay, and then comes the date time data types. So this date time data type is intended to represent the date time values which are there. For example, let us say we have an appointment today. I'll say appointment equal to and when it comes to date time, it has to be enclosed within single quotes and not the double quotes. Okay, so I'll say 28 09 2022 and 08 1536. So which is the appointment is happening on 28 September 2022, 8:15 and 36 AM, right? So if I info appointment, if I save and execute, here you can see I'm provided with the date, and the date time has its own set of inbuilt functionalities. So this is a sample, and we can have multiple formats. Okay. Okay, just give me a second. Let me save and execute the script. Okay. So we have multiple formats of date types. I'll show all the formats in the presentation. So they suppose various date formats. The examples of date formats are birth time, entry, exit time, etc. Okay. So the date time have the following characteristics. It must be enclosed within the single quotes, and these are the various date time formats which we have. The relational orders are supported between two variables of date time only. Okay, so we cannot compare a date variable with date time, and similarly we cannot compare a time variable with date time. Okay, and if nothing is specified, it's by default taking the value of 0 0 0 and also 0 0 at all the points. Okay, it supports various date formats. So we can get the format of the date which is being used in our application from the settings. Under settings, we have the time settings where we'll be provided with various options, and we can choose the format in which we want to handle the date format between. Okay, the date time data type has the following functionalities. We have the option to get the date alone. It has the option to add business days to it. So for example, I'll say appointment dot add business day. So you can see all the inbuilt functionalities which are there along for this particular date type has been provided to us, and everything has been provided with the example as well in the right hand side. So let us go ahead and say add business day of 2. Okay, now it is September 28. If I save and execute, you can see it is providing me with the value of 30th September. So let us say go. I know first and second are Saturday and Sunday. Now let us go ahead and say third, 3 business days. The value should be 3rd October. Instead of saying 1st October, it understands first and second are Saturdays and Sundays. It is taking me to the 3rd October. Okay. So these are the inbuilt data types which are there for date time data types, and the days 360 is used to find the difference between any two given date variables. Okay, and date time data type is used to represent the time value, and it works independently of the date value, so we don't have to focus our entire entire calculation on a particular date field. We have the date time field separately along with the from the date field and time field. Okay, and it supports both 12-hour and 24-hour formats. And the best examples will be appointment time setting, setting of start time and end time, etc. Okay, so the date time data type, sorry, so this one is time data type. So the time data type has the following characteristics. Okay, so the time again has to be enclosed within the single quotes, and it has the range to be declared between 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. if we are following the 12-hour format, or 0000 to 23:59 if we are following the 24 hours format. We have to set that properly. Okay, if we are using the 12-hour format, we will be providing the hours, minutes, seconds, and the AM and PM formats. Okay, so if it's a 12-hour and if it's a 24 hours, we provide only the hours, minutes, and seconds. Then comes the list data type. So the list data type is a collection data type. So when we say collection data type, it is a group of elements represented by one single value. Okay, so the best example will be when we say fruits, right? So the fruits is just a variable name. Inside the fruits, there are a lot of fruits. Inside fruits, we can put apple, orange, banana, grapes, and whatever fruits you come to know can be represented by that one single variable. So that is with the list data type. Okay, so the list data type is actually index valued. So it is ordered in manner, and every order is marked by the positioning entity which is called as index. Okay, so the index of the first value is always 0. So let us say there are 10 elements in a particular list. So the first index is always 0. So when we take the length of the list, it is 10, but the last element of that list contains the index of 9, because the index always starts from 0 in the list. Okay, so the best examples are stored product names, the list of patients allergies which we have, or we can put the simple examples like fruits, vegetables, animals, etc. Okay, so this is the best example of a list, where you can see the list has actually 5 elements and they all are indexed. Okay, let me go ahead and create this list. I'll say fruits. So fruits is the variable name, where I'm going to just declare the list as apple, banana, or cherry, grapes, orange. Okay, so now you can see this is the variable name which is containing the list of these elements, and every element in the list is being ordered. So let us say I want to revive or retrieve the value cherry in it. All I can do is I can say info fruits dot get of, I can provide the index. So when I say index, the first one is always indexed with 0. So 0, 1 and 2. If I give index of 2, I am provided with the value cherry. Okay, if you are providing with the index of 3, you will be getting the value of grapes. Okay, we have to be careful on that. The index value always starts from 0 and not from 1. Okay, we have to be very careful on that. So this is how the list works, and you can see here we normally use the list and map as a collection. So that's we are trying to get the list and map variables into one single umbrella, which is collection, and depending on the value which you are placing into the collection, it will be either index value or key valued collection. Okay, so we'll be taking a look at the key valued collection in a bit. Now let us go ahead and understand the index value collection. Let's go ahead and declare. I'll say fruits equal to collection. Okay, Now let us say fruits dot insert apple, comma orange, comma banana. I'll say info. Okay, let us go ahead and place that in the same place. Now if I execute, the first time when fruits is being displayed, it is having no value because we have just collected the collection. I have not added the values. When we wanted to add values to the collection, we added all the values, and now after that when we are infoing, it's providing us with the values. Okay, and here you can see the values are being index range. So even now I can say dot get of 0, and that should provide me with answer of apple. Okay, so the list this collection based on the data which has been provided in acts as either index valued or key valued. Okay, so now let us go ahead and understand the key valued as well. Okay, so before that we can say the list can contains different data types as well. It's not mandated that it should have the same data type. We'll take a look at that as well. Okay, so now you can see if I execute, I'm provided with the same answer without any error. Although the list contains string, number, and date data types. Okay, so it's not mandated that the string the list should have the same data type as value in it. Okay, and then comes the key value data type. So when we talk about the key value data type, in the earlier collection we saw the index value data type where every value has been tagged along or against a particular index. When you wanted a particular value, we just gave the index and the value was retrieved. Okay, so when it comes to the key value collection, it is held against a particular key instead of providing it with a index. Okay, so let me show you that as well. Now let us go ahead and remove this. Okay, so for this we'll take the employees data. Okay, we'll say info employees, and when we execute, here you can see there's no employee data in it. Okay, and now let us go ahead and add a few values to the employee. So let us say we want to add multiple employees value to it, but every employee will have their own set of attributes. So I'll say employees dot insert. So last time we added the elements as single values, apple, orange, banana. Now we'll say name, and the name to be Surendra Manoj. Okay, and ID to be 5564. Okay, now if I say info employees, save, and if I execute, it's insert all, it's only insert. Here you can see I'm provided with the value of Surendra Manoj and ID of 5564. Okay, now if you want to retrieve Surendra Manoj, we cannot go ahead and say dot get of 0. So dot get of 0 will not provide us any value, rather it provides us with an error. You can see there's a null value because this is a key value pair. If you want to retrieve data from a map or a key value collection, we have to provide the key. Save, and if I execute, you can see I am provided with the value of the key which I have provided. Okay, so the list and map data types are very important, and they are one of the advanced data types which we have in Deluge. And these data types are very important while we are transferring or passing data from one component to another. Okay, and Let us go ahead and take a look at a few characteristics of the map data type. So the few examples are postal code, city, name, student, etc. And as we discussed, no collection can have more than one value to a particular key. For example, now you can see name is Surendra Manoj, right? If I again give a name and I'll say Shiva. If I execute now, the name Surendra Manoj will be replaced by Shiva. It's not providing the Surendra Manoj anymore. So that is the characteristic of key value collection. So you cannot have more than one value to a specific key. Okay. But what if I want to add multiple employees to the system? Then we have to create multiple collections and add them to the previous collection. So I'll say employees is a collection. We'll go ahead and say employee 1 is also a collection, and employee 2 is also a collection. Okay. Employee 1 is equal to or we'll say employee 1 dot insert name, the name to be Surendra, ID to be 8877. Okay, let's replicate that. Instead of employee 1, we'll say employee 2. Okay, yeah, instead of Surendra, we'll say Manoj, and instead of ID 8877, we'll say 9988. Okay, now what we are going to do, we are going to insert employee 1 and employee 2 into employees. Employees dot insert employee 1 comma employee 2 info employees. Execute. You can see I am provided with a collection which is having multiple employees in it. If I have to get the name Manoj or the value Manoj from this collection, I have to treat the outer container or outer collection as the index value pair and the inner collection as a key value pair. So dot get of 1, which provides me with the second element of the outer collection employees, and inside that I have to provide the key. Save, and if I execute now, you can see I am provided with the value Manoj in it. Okay, if I can show you better, I'll say info employees, save and execute. Here you can see I'm provided with the actual collection. The outer collection is employees, and inside employees we have employee 1 and employee 2. And if you can observe the line number 10, the outer collection employees has been treated as index value pair, while the inner collection employee 2 has been treated as a key value pair. So depending on the data which has been placed inside that variable, the collection assumes the role of a list or a map by itself. Okay, and these are the points which we have already discussed. Thank you.